Morning all. Well, it's another day. It's a lovely day. A little bit of blue sky in the air. We're just out taking Rambo for his morning walk up. I'll just spin you around quickly. Show you the park up for last night. It's nice, isn't it? Yep. There are a couple of other vehicles on this gravelly old car park. Rambo. But generally we had the place to ourselves. The other vehicles belong to a couple of boats that are moored down here. A couple of very large boats. I'll show you them as I go round. I'm just trying to find a path. I think Rambo found it and I'm shouting him back. Here he is, look. Guess what he's doing? Yep, Rambo's... I should rename this channel Rambo Doing a Whiz channel. Because that seems to happen more than anything else happens. Anyway, let's take you round. It is it's quite cool, but as I say, it's a pleasant morning. I don't think that path goes anywhere, so we'll go this way. It doesn't really go anywhere at all around here. It's not a walk, it's not a destination, it's just a car park at the side of the road. I imagine because this is actually part of the Caledonian Canal, although this is a lock. It's part of the Caledonian Canal, and I imagine that in summertime people will be down here swimming in the lock because it's relatively shallow. It goes out quite shallow, and then I should imagine it has to deepen up in the middle because of the boat traffic on it, because some of the draft of these boats could well be about 5-6 foot deep, I would have thought. Particularly this. We're going to show you one in a minute. You can probably see it on the left hand side through the trees, but not particularly clearly. And they get on and off of these. They all have little tenders, little rowing tenders, which they just pull into the side. I imagine that's perfectly safe to do that in winter, but not necessarily in summer, because kids or other people will play on them. But certainly during the winter, while I ramble on, there's a little tender there, look. All moored up conveniently to the tree. There you go. And they'll just hop on that, and you can see he's got 1, 2, 3. There's three or four total tenders there, one including a motorboat tender for when they're probably further afield. And then if I spin you around to this one's got his fire burning. He's got his fire going. He's obviously a bit chilly in there, and they've all got to have some form of heating. I did hear them both last night running their engines. That would have been to heat hot water. That would have been to charge their batteries, and possibly provide some central heating, depending on what sort of system they've got. There we go. So there's a view down. I'll show you the view down the lock in a second. My knee hurts today. It was all that walking the other day. I don't know how I've hurt. Anyway, enough of that dribble. There you go. It's a lovely view down the lock with the boat in the picture and the smoke coming out there. I notice on these trees, I'll try and get a bit of a close-up for you, there's a lot of reindeer moss, which only occurs in really sort of fresh air places. I'm going to take you up a tree. You'll bear with me a second. There we go, up the tree. Let's see if you can see that. I think you can. It's in front of the lens. And then down there you can see there's some fat balls for birds. There's a bicycle down there, all belonging to that boat over there. So anyway, carrying on. We go back up and towards the van now. Today, the plan today is I am in a fairly open area here, open enough to try and fly the drone and to see if I can actually try and get some skill behind it, because at the moment I don't have any skill behind it. It's just I send it up and I bring it down really. Every time I try and move it, it jerks. Now that isn't the drone itself, that's the operator. So we'll have a bash at that. We're heading towards Skye now. We won't get to Skye today. Yesterday we had plans to film more of the Caledonia Canal itself. I did say that we would do that. Well, plans change and we didn't do that. Because we found ourselves here. I'd filled up with water at where I said I was going to, and we made our way here. And then, to be honest, it was quite late in the afternoon. Didn't realise it was that late after we'd done all the chores and things, and so we just settled down for the evening. I did a bit of editing of the videos. I watched a bit of television, and that was about it really. And then we had an early night. So anyway, we're back at the van. Here we are. We're on our way to our overnight park up just before we get to the Skye Bridge. But I noticed this little archipelago of islands down here. So I thought I would bring you a little trip with me, because I have this with me. Yes, the old sturdy Fuji X-T1. Obviously I'm going to take some pictures. My sat-nav is currently telling me to make a U-turn, but I'm not going to. Let's have a little panny around. Little old pano. We all love a pano, don't we? Let's pano you back around this way. There's snow on them mountains again. Anyway, Rambo's off ahead. He's doing his usual. You'll never guess what it is. Yes, you did. You got it by now, haven't you? Oh, that is a cold one today. That must be... I think the wind chill is not helping today. It must be... I don't know. Well, my car temperature says it's -5, but I don't believe that, because that's never really very right. I would say it's probably about -1. But the wind factor is making it a lot colder than that. So I'm going to look out for a spot where I can get some nice foreground and some nice background. Preferably over the water. That would be a good idea. I thought I saw a deer then. I didn't. That's a lump of wood. That's a tree root. Yeah, this is how cold it is. Look, it'll let you hear it in a minute. You might be able to hear this crackling ice. Listen, just a second. Here we go. Did you hear that? I did. There you go, some more. I like the sound of crackling ice. Now, there's a little outcroppy here. I'm not sure that I want that. I want to go... I'm hoping for a few rocks. Wait a minute, maybe I got one down here. Rambo, this is all going to be a bit of trial and error. So for now, I'm going to turn you off until maybe I get the shot I want, and then I'll turn you back on again. So the shot I'm after is these rocks and that tree in the frame. And the water. Oh, that is very cold. It's another lovely view for you. We're just on a picture here of these grasses through to the island in front there. I'll show you that later on. The sun's doing its best to come out. Anyway, we've lost Rambo. I don't quite know where he's gone. I just seen the flash of white. He's up to no good. You can see some sun on them mountains now. Look. That's quite nice, isn't it? Let's see if we can find that buoy. Can you see him? I can see him. There's a lot of driftwood around here. Some really nice pieces of driftwood. The stuff you see in garden centres. It surprises me that people don't come along, pick it up and sell the stuff on Fleabay. Right, I'm going to try and get over to this little island. Bear with me. So I was telling you about the driftwood. Just look at this. That's a tree root. Look at that. That's good, isn't it? An old tree root, probably been there for, I don't know, tens of years, floating around in the loch. Now I believe this is the far end of Loch Elsh, on the Kyle of Loch Elsh, but I'm not sure. I will confirm later on. So this could have been floating in this loch for as I say, for years, because the Kyle of Loch Elsh is quite a long loch, and it is a sea loch. Anyway, we're going to carry on along here a little bit, see what we find. Let's give that dog a shout. Come on, Rams. Here he comes. Trailing up behind at the moment. So, let's see where we get. This is very boggy underfoot. It's a good job I got some decent boots on, because, well, we'd have trench foot, which we've had before in Norway. That's another story. I wore a pair of old, I think they were high gear boots. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with high gear boots, but they were, well, I still use them. They're about, they got to be probably 20 years old. And what I didn't realise when I went to Norway was, because they fit so comfortably, they're like an old glove that you put on. And what I didn't realise was they'd got a hole in them. And Norway is quite a boggy place, up in the mountains and things. And so every time we went out for a walk, I got wet feet. Now, whilst I didn't actually get trench foot, I did get wet feet every single day almost, and that became quite a standing joke. There's another piece of old root there. There's another piece coming up here. See, from a distance some of these look like carcasses, but they're not. It's just, look, that's just a piece of driftwood. Now that is beautiful. That is such a nice piece of driftwood. In fact, do you know what? I might just pick that up and take that home with me. That is such a pretty piece of driftwood. My old mum would have loved that. If she could have, she'd have insisted that I bought that. Get off, Rambo. He now thinks that that's a toy for him to play with. Taking you around what this looks like an old campsite, which it is. This would have been a pitch here. This would have been a pitch here. It's all very level. They're a little bit overgrown in the middle there, but it would have been a pitch. Excuse my shadow. And what is really good, now these used to be turned on, or at least they were the last time I was here. Although this one's been turned upside down. Let's have a look at the one on the other side. Yeah, there you go. There we have it, look. There we go, look. It's still got fresh running water out of them, which for any van person like myself is always worth knowing. So I aren't going to give you the full location of it, because I very seldom give away locations of where I stay, and there's a very good reason for that, because when you give them out on things like YouTube and Facebook and all of that stuff, the masses turn up, and not only do the masses turn up, but litter starts getting left and inappropriate stuff gets left behind, and it just spoils it, because the council come along or the locals come along, and quite rightly, because I wouldn't want it either, say no, not having any more of that, and they close them. So that's why I won't give out any of my park ups where I park up overnight. I spend a lot of time and effort looking for park ups. I use Google Maps, I use Google Earth, and I use a number of other things to decide where I'm going to park. And generally, well, as of yet, I've never had an issue. Occasionally I've had people asking me what I'm doing, and I tell them. And if ever I get asked to move on because it's on private land or something like that, which it very often isn't, but if it's questioned, I will just leave and go and find somewhere else, because I don't want van lifers or the so-called van lifers. I don't want people who live in vans. I don't want people who spend a lot of time in vans like I do to have hostile interactions with people. So there we go. So if you do ask in the comments, unfortunately you will get a negative response. It'll be polite, of course it'll be polite, but it will be a negative response. That's pretty much that little ranty banty over with. I'm good at ranting. Hey, there's a little car park down here, look. I think there's probably a dog walker's car park down here. I don't know. Let's have a look. There's a couple of cars in it. I should imagine it was the old entrance to the campsite. I don't know. I don't know. We'll carry on walking a bit and find out. So next week we finally get to the Isles of Skye, and we're going to head straight for the magnificent coral beaches. We're going to do a nature tour and walk to another island, and we're also going to get some great drone footage. So it's bye for now, and see you all next week. Don't forget, please support this channel by liking and subscribing, and we'll see you soon. Take care now.